Good day, everyone. Every individual who wants to learn English as a foreign language has specific needs. They have different purposes as to why they want to learn the language. Some of them are students, professors, or even tourists. And the best way that they can learn the language is that the teachers meet their interests and needs. That is why the Widest Asian Learners English School offers different programs for these individuals so that they can effectively function in their society. Before we start, let's introduce some of the members of Wales who will be discussing about these programs. Let's start off with our administrator, Teacher Marianne Soriano.
Hello everyone, I'm going to be helping you out learn more about EFL Plus.
And let's have Teacher James Delatre as our curriculum developer.
Good day to everyone, and I'm going to be introducing about IELTS and TOEFL.
And of course, Teacher Lester Cristales as our head teacher.
And I'll be having the English for Overseas Students professional program and the night classes.
And of course, yours truly, I'm Teacher Carl Ronaldo. I'm one of the EFL teachers here, and I'll be talking about the Working Holiday Visa program that we have. To talk about EFL Plus, let's have Teacher Man. Man, could you tell us what EFL Plus is basically all about?
Actually, EFL Plus is a program wherein students who are aspiring to maximize their English skills enroll in this kind of program.
Teacher Man, about the EFL Plus program, what are the advantages? Because most of our students are enrolling in this program.
For EFL program, actually one of the advantages is that it prepares students for higher level English skills. And another thing is that it also encourages students, especially for professionals, if they wanted to get better jobs, then they can enroll in this program.
So, what are the kinds of classes that are offered here now?
Okay, if you would recognize, we have the program named as EFL Plus. Why is it plus? Because actually we offer 6 man-to-man classes here. So for the man-to-man classes, we have reading, writing, speaking, grammar, 2 grammar subjects, wherein we term them PFC, okay, or Patterns for Communication 1 and 2. And then also for the group classes, we have discussion and listening classes.
So Teacher Man, out of the advantages that you have mentioned, for whom is this program intended?
For EFL Plus, actually, any student can enroll in this kind of program as long as they are aiming to improve their English skill. Like for example, students who are on their vacation, they can actually come here and study English, taking the EFL course. Another would also be for professionals. Like for example, they just wanted to improve their communication skills, they can come here also and take the program. As well as for students who are aiming to take higher courses like for example IELTS or TOEFL, this can be the basic step for them to be able to improve their English skills.
Okay, so we have here Teacher Carl, who will be talking about the Working Holiday Visa. So we wanted to know more about it. And Teacher Carl, what is this Working Holiday Visa?
Well, the Working Holiday Visa program that we offer is for students who plan to work overseas, especially in a country wherein English is used widely from a lot of people. Let's say like in Canada, in the US, in New Zealand, in Australia. Yeah, and basically it's a preparation for them, especially when they have to look for a job. And how are they going to prepare their resumes? How are they going to present themselves and communicate well? And of course, how are they going to survive in an English-speaking environment?
Yeah, I heard most of our students are actually going to Australia, and for their vocabulary, they learn Aussie slangs. And how do they do that?
Yes, that is true that they learn Aussie slangs. Well, these slangs are really important for them to survive in that environment. Well, like Australia or the US or Canada, they have different slangs, and whenever they use their language, they use slangs, and it's not like the language that we use here in the Philippines that's so general. That's why, in order for them to survive and communicate even more or communicate well with other people, it's really encouraged that we teach our students the Aussie slang and even the accent.
That's very nice. And teacher James here has been teaching writing for quite some time. Under the Working Holiday Visa, you guys are teaching how to prepare their resumes, right?
Actually, it's not just on resumes. Of course, we have your cover letter or your application letter. We also teach them how to prepare their, aside from the resume, your CV or the curriculum vitae. For some, we also teach them how to write business letters, simple business letters, for them to be able to at least familiarize themselves.
Do they actually use these resumes when they arrive in Australia?
Yes, they do.
And also in this program, we have like listening class. What do we actually offer students?
Well, to start off with, basically the students will be going to an English-speaking country. So let's say Australia or in Canada or the US. Well, they really need to learn how, or the patterns of the language there and how people speak, how they use their accent. Well, because basically the accent in the United States or the accent in the UK and Australia are different. They're way different. And it's actually a challenge for the students to, expose themselves to these kinds of material, right? And also for the teacher, it's actually really spontaneous, and we really do have to specialize the materials that we use, especially if the student is going to Australia, let's say. Well, we need to use materials that are specialized only for Australia, like listen to people how they converse, the patterns of their speech,
Yes.
their accent. Yes.
Isn't there like movies that are being shown through these classes? Australian movies or some dramas or even what do you call this? What do you call that? Like game shows in
Yes, game
Australian,
shows,
so that would
exactly.
be more familiar. Well, in the school they simulate. They simulate an Australian accent environment. However, it's really good if students would really listen to actual audio
Exactly.
files.
That's true. Basically, aside from knowing the vocabulary, you should also know how they use it. And that's how you're going to learn. How are you going to recognize these vocabulary? You may know how to probably read it, but you haven't actually heard it. So how are you going to recognize it, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a very good insight. So students wouldn't really hesitate to be part of the listening classes. So we're already done with the FL Plus and we also have the Working Holiday Visa. Now we're moving on with TOEFL and IELTS. Teacher James?
So basically, for TOEFL and IELTS, this is a program for students who want to take up, will be taking up the TOEFL and IELTS examination. Basically, this is designed to help students to get at least a passing mark for IELTS and TOEFL.
Okay. So I've also heard that before we allow students to take the course, we give them like entrance examination. So what is the process?
Well, for the process, it's this way. For the students who really want to take up, for example, IELTS, they have to have a mock test, and for the four basic four macro skills, for the four macro skills, writing, listening, speaking, and reading, they have to have at least a band score of 4.
So which means that you don't allow students to just enroll in this course.
Yes. Because IELTS and TOEFL are basically really high-end tests, and these are not really for students who are just who just wanted to just take the exam for them to
Work in another country.
to work in another country. Of course, they really have to have the skill first.
Teacher James, could you tell us the difference between TOEFL and IELTS? Is there a demarcation between these two examinations?
Well, basically, for IELTS, this is an examination for people who are going, for example, to English, yeah, English-speaking countries like the UK, Canada, Australia, but for TOEFL, these examination is for students who are going to enroll at the university in the United States.
So, do they have the same content of the test?
Not really.
Mhm.
They would actually, based on what I have searched on the internet, they are kind of having difficulty on what is more important, whether it's IELTS or TOEFL. But you know, there's really no, uh, how do you call this? There's really no way to say which is better, because they really have different purposes.
Right.
Exactly.
In fact, for example, IELTS, academic IELTS, for example, is used for people who are going to Australia, for example, and take up or go to higher education or in a university. But for TOEFL, it's going to a university in the United States.
Okay, Teacher James, for example, I want to enroll. I have no experience. So how will I start and study these IELTS?
Well, basically, if, for example, we gave you a mock test, right, and you did not really reach the quota of 4.0 band score,
What's going to happen?
what we're going to do is to give you a preparatory course for your IELTS, or even for TOEFL, actually.
Is it similar to EFL plus those preparatory classes?
It's kind of similar, but the difference is that the preparatory courses are really based on the skills that you have to use in TOEFL and IELTS.
And I think also the material are different.
Yes, and the materials are different too.
Okay, so hopefully, yes, we were able to get an idea of how to enroll in this program. So
Yes.
thank you very much, Teacher James.
Mhm.